Hello. I think it's fine now. No, we have the. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Datatopics Unplugged, casual corner of the web where we discuss what's new in data every week, from GPT to lawsuits. Anything goes. Today is the 1st of March of 2024. My name is Murillo, and I'll be your host for today. And I'm joined by Bart.
Hi.
And in the back scenes, we have another special guest. First tidbit here today. We have Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
There we go. Is she muted or no? Yeah, there we go.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Alex. I'm the new intern at Datatopics.
Yes, she'll be helping us here. So we'll be seeing her. She's hopefully, if the quality skyrockets, you know
It's
that
all because of
it's
Alex.
the Alex effect. It's
The Alex effect, yeah. We'll call it the Alex effect.
the Alex effect, indeed. Cool.
Perfect.
Very happy that you're joining us.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm happy to join.
All right. And we have also some other tidbits, right? We have some other exciting news.
Yes.
Do you want to share that part?
I assume
Okay.
that you're talking about the introduction.
Yes, I am. That's why
The
we
intro
didn't start
jingle.
the intro jingle. Yeah, we didn't start the podcast in the usual way because we have this little surprise for the listeners, viewers.
Yeah.
Maybe I should play and then you can talk about it a bit.
I'm a bit shy about it.
I'll do it. Oh,
Yeah.
you want to do it together? Let's do it together.
You're the president. This is awkward.
You have taste in a way that's meaningful to software people.
Hello, I'm Bill Gates.
I would recommend TypeScript. Yeah, it writes a lot of code for me, and usually it's slightly wrong.
I'm reminded, incidentally, of Rust here. Rust.
Congressman, iPhone is made by a different company, and so,
You will not learn Rust while skydiving.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about large neural networks. It's really an honor to be here.
Rust.
Data topics.
Welcome to the data.
Welcome to the Data Topics podcast.
Hello. So that's how it's going to be from now on.
Yeah.
Cool. I
New
like
intro.
it. So what, maybe Alex, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I really like it.
Oh, wait. We need to think that we unmute you. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it sounds cool.
All right. Yeah, that was
Is it the completely unbiased answer?
Yes.
yeah, first day answer. I love it, actually. Yeah. I wouldn't have done better myself. Yeah. No, it's cool. But maybe the backstory there is I was on holidays last week, as I mentioned, and Bart apparently he felt really lonely. He had too much time on his hands.
The backstory is that on Friday evening I had a bit of time, and this crawled into my head.
Nice.
So the concept is basically like there's a jingle, but all of the people that you hear talking are famous people in the software and or data world. So you
Yes.
heard,
So
hello,
maybe
I'm
some
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, yeah.
Or,
There's some highlights there, no? Like Steve Jobs with I don't know what's happening. This is not
so
working.
he's like he's doing a demo somewhere.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like on the stage, right?
Yeah, it fails.
Yeah.
The demo effect.
This became, I think, very popular, no? Because I think he got really, really pissed off with the engineers because it wasn't
Yeah.
working
I'm
there.
not sure if it's that one, but
Yeah.
indeed, yeah. And the one with I would recommend TypeScript. Do you know who it is?
I think you mentioned to me. Was it a Linus?
No, he's also in there.
Who?
Guido van Rossum.
Ah. And that, by the way, the people that don't know who that is, that's the creator of Python.
Yes.
So interesting that you took that.
Really
Really?
purposefully took it out of context.
Okay, cool. And Linus, the guy from Linux, who
Well, he's actually not in, but the first thing, what it is something like you have taste.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's meaningful to software people, so it's a bit like
you have
but-
taste. Not
and that's an
really.
interviewing starting a question.
Yeah,
2 lines trouble.
yeah. It's like you look really blind. No, you look really good for a blind person. It's like okay, cool. To be fully transparent with whoever's listening, to whoever's watching, today would be a bit of a Bart show. I was on holidays last week. I was skiing on the slopes of Romania. Really cool as well. That was how was your this past week, Bart?
Only missed you, huh?
You only missed me.
Yeah, I had a countdown, like so many more days.
Really?
Told me look
Man,
back.
I'm sorry. every day you're like, I hope he's thinking about me.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but sorry. Okay, but yeah, so actually quite a lot of stuff happened, I feel. Maybe we can start with very fresh news. I feel like actually, do we have, what's this? Oh no, team news, no. Very fresh news. Elon Musk sues OpenAI and Sam Altman over betrayal of nonprofit AI mission. So actually, this is March 1st. That's today's date, 11:30 a.m. So very
I think it's 3-ish hours old. The news.
yeah, very hot out of the oven. So you heard here first, or maybe or second,
or on TechCrunch.
or in TechCrunch. Yeah, but well, I glanced over it, Bart. I don't know if you have more info, but I think it's the betrayal here that they're referring is because OpenAI. Actually, Elon Musk was one of the founders of OpenAI. If I'm not mistaken.
Elon Musk was in the founding team, and I think what it is about, but again, like I also glanced over this, is that in the statutory documents of the founding of OpenAI, it basically says that it is a non-profit organization. But what it comes down to today, that like it's a complex setup. There's still a non-profit component, but like the main mission is a for-profit one.
Yeah, actually, I heard that on the whole OpenAI drama, part of it was because there was the
You're
for-profit
referring to
and then-
the board.
Yeah,
drama,
firing. Yeah. So for refresher for people that are not in the know, Sam Altman, he's the CEO. He was the face of OpenAI. He was very vocal about it. He was like he was basically the face of OpenAI, and the board fired him. Yeah, still is, right? But the board fired him on Friday, and then a lot of people from OpenAI were threatening to resign in how do you say, like
and he was resigned. He was fired by the board.
Yeah, and then basically a lot of people threatened to leave in solidarity. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And then by Monday, he already had his job back, and a lot of people from the board were fired or replaced, or I don't know, promoted to other companies.
New hobbies.
But yeah, I remember like there was a bit of a discussion like how OpenAI, there's the for-profit and not-for-profit, and one was taking over the other a bit because, well, profits are always in people's minds, and it's a bit of speculation why this whole thing happened, why they fired him. But yeah, and I think Elon Musk has been very vocal for a long time that OpenAI, I think there were even tweets from him or X's, or actually, how do you say tweets now that it's X?
Access? Cheats?
Cheats? You just made that up right now.
An X with an eat behind it. Cheat?
Okay. Cheats, I guess.
Not to be confused with.
Yeah, with other stuff. The OpenAI should be open, and when he founded it, it was with the openness, like open source and stuff, and now it's fully for profit. It's part of Microsoft, right? So I think this is a bit of the document there. So let's see how it plays out. Maybe what do you think is going to happen, Bart? Do you think there's any? I mean, this is on the news because it's Elon Musk, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Do you think this is going to go anywhere, or do you think?
I don't know enough about US legal system to really reason about this specific thing.
Yeah, I'm a bit. I mean, what can you do?
Well, I think what a factor is that Elon Musk probably put capital in it, and that means that at the very beginning, and I think he still is a shareholder. And
Yeah,
that's maybe it was we're meaning that you partially own the company. Maybe he was not involved enough for that. It's going to be an important part in the story.
Yeah, let's see. It's still very early, like we mentioned, but I think it's caught my attention as well. And talking about Microsoft, right? Because OpenAI is part of Microsoft. Microsoft has been. It's not.
No, Milo. OpenAI is not part of Microsoft.
But
Microsoft has an exclusive license.
Okay.
To OpenAI,
but they have influence too, no?
I think through that they also have influence in their.
Yeah, because I remember there was something. I think maybe what I'm also confusing because during the whole drama, Sam Altman, he was gonna work for Microsoft. Like he moved, like he was gonna get a role at Microsoft or something. Because I also saw here somewhere the Microsoft Satya. No, I don't know. I'll just stop talking. In any
You
case,
see too much here. And he actually says that Musk donated. So I'm not even sure that he is a shareholder. It says he donated to the nonprofit. But
in any case, Microsoft
Microsoft.
has also, well, I think ever since they have this partnership with OpenAI, Azure has the OpenAI exclusivity thing, right? I think they've been taking leaps forward on the AI race.
Mhm.
And they actually made another leap. I saw you added this not that long ago as well. That Microsoft made a 16 million investment in Mistral AI.
Yeah.
So maybe Mistral AI, refresher, what is Mistral AI?
Mistral AI is a European competitor to OpenAI. That's the easiest way to explain it. Based in Paris. They have a very similar offering. Models behind an API. Difference is that their models are also open sourced. We've discussed this earlier. They very recently also launched
La Plateforme. Where's Kevin when we need him?
La Platform is actually the API thing, but they also launched. It's in the upper right. What does it say? How do you pronounce it?
Le Chat.
Voila.
You
A
like
chat functionality very similar to what OpenAI has with ChatGPT. So it's very comparable, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting, right? Like, well, Microsoft is just eating the.
I think it's interesting that Microsoft now actually invest in them because they have this exclusive license with OpenAI, and I think OpenAI is still very much at the forefront of this. I don't think Mistral AI, in terms of performance, is a competitor.
Is there a competitor to OpenAI today?
If we just talk about purely about performance, I don't really think so.
Yeah, right.
Like every time we think something comes close, they announce a new version.
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
sometimes I feel like there's a lot of hype and people talk about it, but then you try, and then you're like, yeah, it's.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, like, what is the rationale of Microsoft to do this? Because towards their OpenAI partnership, the license that they have with OpenAI, like this also can come across a bit weird, right? So
Yeah,
there must be a strategy behind it, and I think potentially, like, it's hedging bets. What if Mistral AI is indeed the next big thing? But I think also a very important one is that there's already some antitrust rumors going about around the Microsoft OpenAI collaboration.
So antitrust rumors, meaning like
that they basically have a monopoly position on this because they have so strict ties, they're exclusive, and at the same time they're not really competitors out there that make it a fair market.
I see.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying that there is. I'm going to try to repeat what you said, just if I understand. OpenAI is so ahead that like Mistral is not really a competitor. So Microsoft investing in them is not really a conflict because.
No. I think the trust agencies, I think in Europe, maybe also in the States, they have their visor set on Microsoft and OpenAI, saying that the position that they're taking and the exclusive partnership that they have is not conducive to a fair market.
Okay.
And one can make the argument that Microsoft investing in Mistral AI, that puts Microsoft in a position where saying, but it's not only exclusive with OpenAI. See, we also invested in another.
But just guys say we play nice. We're giving money to everyone, so there's competitive. Yeah. I mean,
potentially, I'm very much.
But like, if they have an influence on all the big AI players, is that also not? Like, is this? Because I guess in my head is like, if Microsoft has influence over all of them, that's more damaging to the market, and
That's another way to look at it. Yeah. But I think the antitrust discussions that are going on now is really about the exclusive collaboration between Microsoft and OpenAI, being something that is very hard for anyone else to replicate, making it unfair. And simply by now investing in Mistral AI, they can say it's not exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but in 16 million, the amount there. Can we put this in perspective somehow? Like, how much money do they invest on other things? Is this?
I think it's for Microsoft. It's like they forgot to put the lights out at the end of the day.
They're just like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
pour a little bit more. Yeah. So maybe it's just it could just be like in Brazil we have a saying like para inglês ver, like just to show. Right.
And what maybe another important factor is, so we have, I think, over the years, a lot of legislation in Europe that's under which, and I don't think there's ever a very clear prohibition that to use, let's say, US-based services. There's never a clear prohibition, but it is often easier to go for a European provider. So that might also be in Microsoft's consideration, given that they have a very big footprint in the cloud world in Europe. Potentially.
Interesting.
Where they can maybe more easily position Mistral as a service behind their Microsoft Cloud or Azure Cloud than OpenAI.
Interesting. Yeah, but yeah. To be seen.
To be seen.
To be seen. I feel like feels like a movie, right? Like the character does something. We're not pretty sure why, but it's like everyone's kind of like, oh, is it because of this? Is it because of that?
No.
It's clearly
I have the feeling that this has been the last year with OpenAI, and then every other week Elon pops his head up.
Just make sure, like, have you forgotten about me? Cool. And so far we're talking about OpenAI. Well, actually, Mistral AI is just text, right? There's no image generation at all.
It's a good question. I want to say yes. The only thing I tested was fully text-based. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe they're doing some R&D around it, but
yeah, but there's nothing available, right? Like models, Mistral small, large, embedded. Yeah, text, English only. Yeah, I think it's just text. Or state-of-the-art technology. It's a bit weird to say state-of-the-art technology, but like you still see GPT-4 up ahead. But okay. And why I ask is because actually GPT-4 is multimodal as well. It has also, you can generate images. Actually, just lays over to another model.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, maybe I guess it's not really GPT-4, but it's through the
DALL-E,
same.
yeah.
You're still on the same chat platform that you use.
ChatGPT, I think
Yeah.
what you can call multimodal.
And why am I asking this? Actually, maybe from your experience generating images, does it take a long time?
So I tend to use to default to Midjourney, and I want to say it takes roughly 30-ish seconds. But I'm really finger in the air, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm saying I hear, you heard, and you just put it there, and I'm bringing it up about lightning fast image generation.
Blazingly fast,
which nowadays means Rust. Maybe a side story. I was doing a talk at the university, and then like on my intro slide, there's always Python, Rust, and stuff. And then I was like, yeah, I'm also curious about Rust. And I just hear someone go, woo, like at the university. And I was like, man, the Rust fanboys start early,
How many people were these that stood up and cheered?
Yeah. I think there was like 2 or 3.
Okay.
I mean, one was more emphatic, but there was like 300 students, 320 students or something. So it's like, yeah, like 1%, but still, like the university, I was surprised too.
Did they ask your autograph?
I was like, man, it's embarrassing. I was like, I'm just a regular guy, just yeah. No, but I thought it was funny that they start early, they start young. But what is this? Lightning fast image generation.
It is, like you say, it is very fast. Maybe it's more interesting if you use the other link. It is like really a demo.
This one.
Yes.
This is a cute.
Yeah. Can you try to generate yourself? Put a prompt in there. So for the people that are listening, we're looking at a image that has.
Maybe we should start with something else.
A Brazilian, half Brazilian, half Japanese guy.
To be really
that
fast.
Enjoys ice cream. Let's go for that.
Half Brazilian,
bearded guy,
Japanese, bearded. But you see, like, actually, this thing is so fast.
It generates it while you type.
Yeah.
So we see the image building actually.
So I'm not really. I don't want to be held liable for
that
any
likes
image
ice cream.
That was,
and is in his end of his 20s.
Wow, you didn't need to be that specific. You just said in his 20s.
Okay, it's getting young, but it's crazy how fast this is.
Yeah, it's really
crazy
fast, huh?
it is. It
You think?
doesn't wear glasses.
And has perfect.
Eyesight. It's interesting that a lot of it stays stable.
What the? But you see, I feel like they put the glasses because I said Japanese.
And has perfect, but remove and just be more specific. And does not have,
and
does not wear
does
glasses.
not.
I think that could very well be a. Is that a thing in Japan?
I don't know, but I feel like, you see,
Or are you not being racist? I don't know. Just because.
but like actually, like they still have glasses, huh? Even if I write it.
Oh wow.
But if I remove it, it's the same, huh?
Yeah, I think this is the only guy that comes close to you.
Glasses, yeah. Still, but I think it's the
Do a minus, maybe so some like really a minus sign. Anyway, what is happening? So Marilo is typing the prompt, and like as he writes it, new versions are being generated, which is crazy fast. And
Yeah.
actually, the inference time says there are 223 milliseconds for the last image, coming from like I said, a midjourney, like half a minute, sometimes a minute.
it's also
And
funny.
it's still quite good, even though we can't get a glassless guy, but
Yeah, right.
it's
it's
still
pretty good.
quite good. Right?
It's not realistic, right? Like
It's not realistic.
but
Can
maybe
you
we
try
can
it? A
put-
photorealistic image of a cute bunny. And it's actually quite good.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a cute
Indeed.
bunny.
Let's see. Duck.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's a cute duck, yeah.
So
And this is super fast. And this is based on SDX?
this one, SDX Lightning.
SDXL Lightning.
SDXL.
Which is, as I understand, so Stability AI. It's based on a Stability AI model.
Ah.
Stability AI launched a very fast model already in December somewhere. It was called
Stable diffusion. No.
SDXL. No, indeed, this is based on the default base model. But Stability AI released a very fast model already in November, which was called SDXL Turbo, if I'm not mistaken. And this is like, again, one step further. And this was released, I think, somewhere last week.
Yeah,
And
maybe,
we'll link the paper in the show notes. Also, the demo app. Demo app you can very easily fork. The one that we're showing now is hosted on Vercel.
Yeah, indeed. So, really cool. Actually, Vercel is like they have a free tier, no?
The Vercel is a free tier. Yeah.
So for people that are like looking for a side hobby project,
For people that are cheap, they can just.
I was gonna make a comment.
Where my Dutch people?
Yeah, I mean, you
I can say it because
you're
I'm Dutch, right? I can say it.
But you should always say that after you make a joke.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
Dutch,
true,
by
yeah,
the way,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's fine. Yeah, I was gonna make that comment. I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
No.
Yeah, really
So cool to
really
see. Cool to see this getting that fast. Like
So-
it really builds up, like it creates another realm of possibilities, right?
And I think actually makes sense, right? Like up until now, we've seen this Gen AIs, whether it's text or image,
Mhm.
that they're really just trying to push to see how realistic, how
Yeah.
good it can be. But now it's like taking forever. So now they're pushing to see how fast we can make it, right? Which I guess is almost like a research cycle, right? Like you have first trying to make something valuable, and then you try to make it useful, right? Like
Yeah.
usable, I guess, not useful, but it's really cool, really cool. But like, and you mentioned it's turbo, but I also saw distillation.
So the Stability AI released Turbo, which is a similar ish model, fast image generation in December of last year, and this is a new version, Lightning version. But it's like you said, you were looking at the description. I think it's not based on Turbo, but they rebuilt it.
Yeah,
There's actually a paper on how they rebuilt it.
yeah. But then and how they make it fast, as I'm looking here, like it's like distillation or something. Which I think, if I remember correctly, is like you have a model and you're trying to train another model to mimic the bigger one.
Okay.
So like a smaller one, right? Based on that. And I think that from what I remember, I may be butchering this, huh? I'm just going from memory here. The downside is that the smaller model can only be as good as the big model. So the performance is capped.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So
see.
one way, but I think it's pretty cool.
Maybe when we're on the topic of you butchering stuff, we have a correction to make as well.
Go for it. Maybe actually I can open
One of our previous episodes, we were talking about warp, and I was actually kind of bashing warp for syncing data across your devices. And that's how I understood the functionality, because warp is a terminal, a relatively new terminal built in
Rust.
and
You should have a button that says Rust with like some
yeah.
yeah.
And you can log in, and I assumed it was to share your history, and I was bashing but this is sensitive history, I don't want this to be somewhere on a server, but apparently it's not to save your history. So I think it only uses your preference. You can sync your. I haven't really looked at what it does sync them why you need to log in, but it's probably your settings, your preferences, the how is it called, macros, I think they call it, mini scripts that you can easily run.
Actually, I haven't used that. I know they have extensions and whatnot, and you can. Yeah.
So the correction is made.
Yes, we actually got this correction from friend of the show, Sam. Actually, will be here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So
talking about
I think it's Fabric.
Fabric.
So he's actually I won't spoil it. I'll wait for the episode. But, very knowledgeable guy. Really excited to have him here next week. And indeed, correction made. What do we have next? Maybe also related to the last topic. Fast image generation. Let's see if I can find it. Actually, I didn't put this, so allow me a few moments to open this up again. Turbo art, really fast image generation.
Yeah, I think that one is actually built on the SDXL Turbo from Stability AI itself. Yeah, so it's a bit older. Well, the model they're using is a bit older.
Yes. So what is turbo art? But before we go further, it's an app, very simple app.
Yeah.
Actually, that basically you have original image, and then you can put there's the transformed image. So maybe just to try to paint a picture with words here. This one is like a landscape. Looks some could be in Switzerland, I guess, like mountains, green. And then you can actually put a prompt here. And for example, if I put 11, you see it transforms the image on the right, and then you see some I guess.
Does it keep generating?
Yeah.
Try the half Brazilian, half Japanese. It's even faster, right? If you see it like this,
it's really, really fast. But it doesn't time, right? Because there's also the time from the UI and stuff.
And it's smaller as well, huh? What this is.
Yeah,
it's a smaller image.
I guess. But it's really cool. So I see. Yeah. Image generation is powered by Stability's SDXL Turbo.
Yeah.
So we can actually go here and see the blog post that they mentioned. But really, really cool. And actually,
but can we try it if it's also unbiased?
What is it?
Half Brazilian, half Japanese guy, in his 20s, that likes ice cream.
20s.
It really takes a combination of the image and the prompt, so it's harder to.
They put an ice cream thing. Yeah, but maybe we can change this image.
Yeah, this is. Let's take the floor, because I think this is difficult to follow for the listeners.
Yeah.
But we'll link it as well. This application.
Really cool, but I still feel like I have this back and forth because you have these. It's a probabilistic model, right? And a lot of the times, it kind of plays into stereotypes.
Yeah.
And it's it's racist. But then it's if there is.
We need to discuss this, right? It's not on it happened last week. Gemini.
Exactly. But Gemini. Then I go kind of back and forth a bit. It's quote unquote racist, but if there is a statistical correlation there,
maybe we need to explain a bit what happened with Gemini.
Go for it.
So I want to say last week, right? Or was it the week before even? Yeah. Gemini's image generations features were a bit of a buzz around, because it didn't really represent history very well, right? And to such an extent basically didn't show any white males. More or less came down to that. That is a summary, right? If you generated something like a historic scene, a soldier in World War II, it would be probably be a very Asian looking. And there was a lot of flack because of this, like not correctly representing history. I think the flack was a bit exaggerated, to be honest. I think the flack was also, it was also on X. I remember.
Yeah.
X is maybe also a bit extreme on these things, but if we go back 1 year, 2 years maybe, we had it the other way around. We've heard very, very often, like if you generate an image of a CEO, it's always a white male, right? And I think this is what happened. Like that Google tried to, in their prompt processing or wherever, like add in some guardrails so that you remove a bit of the inherent bias that is there in society also to some extent.
Yeah. And
that you try to be more aligned with the norms and values that they hold high. But this took it one step further.
Too much.
But I think it was very much with good intentions.
Yeah, it's like a woke.
And it's just a bug in the end. It's a bug that it needs.
Woke Gen AI.
It's a woke Gen AI.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's like it's a line as well, right? But to be seen. But I was also thinking about that now because every time I put Brazilian on the other one, it was like women, and this one is like shirtless guy, which is like, is this who I am? Like is this Brazilians?
Well, I did go on a skeeter up Norwegian last year, and
yeah, this is not. Let's discuss this later. Let's discuss this after the podcast. But just wanted to give some love to this project here. Also, another thing I heard. So actually, I haven't checked this, but I'll do this live. If you look at the actual repo that created this, it's very simple. So there's the front end, right, which is not the actual code that generates the image. There's one file here, turboart.py, and you see here that it's 139 lines of code. That's it. That's the whole app, the image generation. So really, really, really cool. It actually uses Modal, which is a really cool framework that has GPUs, and you can actually don't need no credit card required. You just sign up.
This is the backend, right? What you're talking about, the lines of code. Yeah.
Okay. Also make this a bit bigger here for you. So this is actually the backend, the image generation part, right? So actually they use the Modal stuff here. So I just wanted to give some love as well to Modal and Modal Labs. So basically you can, in the code for people that are listening, you can kind of specify a Docker image with Python code, kind of in a Python SDK. You can specify the image, the dependencies, the Docker image, etc., etc. So you have to import some things in the function, and then they send it over to GPUs that you have. You sign up using GitHub, and you don't have to put credit card. They give you $30 for free every month. So for students, actually, I can this week when I was in the university as well, people were asking me what can you do to prepare better for the workforce, and I said, doing these projects I think is really cool, and you have a lot of there's a lot of things free, right? Like that you can give it a try. So
and Modal is basically like a remote execution of your GPU accelerated code.
Yes,
right?
Yes. So if you know, like if you're familiar with Lambda functions on AWS,
exactly,
right? So it's like serverless functions. And for people that don't know what I'm saying when I say these things, you can think of like there's a computer with a GPU, so very powerful computer running somewhere else that you don't know where it is. And then what you can do is basically tell that computer to run your code. And then you only get charged for the time that computer is running your code. So really, really cool things. So just spreading some love here.
I think a slightly more well-known alternative is Replicate, which actually, more or less is the same thing.
Replicate.
I think they position themselves a little bit differently as putting the model very visible behind an API. Here they're putting the model.
This one?
Yeah, but you're in the docs now. Yeah. So here they put the model really behind a very transparent API. In Modal, they also do that, but they wrap it in a Python decorator, so it's more easy for Python users to
but they have also like in the Modal documentation. So Modal I have tried in the past.
Yeah, you have multiple approaches, but like if you like, this is very clearly like they focus on the API approach. If you go to Modal's website, like they focus on Python users.
But they also have a lot of tutorials, really cool. Like for people that know Discord, know how to build a Discord bot, they can do this. So really cool, really cool, nice things. And while we're on the GPT, GPT, Gen AI. Maybe we can segue into GPT script.
Tell me.
GPT script, basically, it's from their tagline here is develop LLM apps in natural language. So, from what I understand, maybe for people that are not super familiar when I say natural language, why, the idea is that you have programming languages like Python, Rust, TypeScript, and then you have natural languages like Portuguese, English, Dutch, French, etc., etc. So natural, when I say develop LLM apps in natural language, is basically develop apps just talking to it as you would talk to a person. That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So GPT script, it's kind of like a programming language, I guess. Yeah, GPT script is a new scripting language to automate interaction with large language models, namely OpenAI. So I guess maybe they'll expand it later. So you have a I think a .gpt extension, and then there is like
A .gpt file, basically, right?
.gpt file indeed. And then there, I guess you have you can run like GPT script with this. And then in that file, you have, it kind of feels like YAML-ish, you have some keys and some stuff. And I think that's what they're trying to standardize.
Yeah, you can specify in that file like what kind of tools do you want to use, and tools are basically also mini prompts.
Yes.
That you can and you can probably also alter that programmatically, but by default I think there are mini prompts.
Yeah.
And in your natural language, you can refer to these tools so that the model probably also this context gets injected and
yes. Actually, I'm seeing here some things. Some tools can be improved by invoking a program instead of a natural language prompt. So I guess here they have an example that part of it is just natural language and part of it is Python. Actually, this looks really cool.
What do you think of this? You find it very cool?
Well, I think it's I think it's cool in the sense that like how you can mix and match things, right? I think it's a bit weird to say it's natural language, but then it's a programming scripting language.
I think this is a good example that explains why developers will still be around a few years from now. Like everybody saying like, oh, we don't need developers anymore. But like, I generate code with OpenAI, with ChatGPT, with Copilot, and like generating code through natural language, like it's a bit of a it's a lot of text you need to write. Like I read a prompt, probably not going to be fine. Rewrite it a little bit, and you tend to then go a bit back to more keywords. These keywords work to make it shorter, to not write a whole page of instructions.
Kind of like Google search, right? Like you just put Brazilian restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, you're working with keywords and short descriptions and tools, like and you make it a .gpt script, and in the end, you're programming again, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But a little bit more with natural language.
True, that's very true. But like, and also I thought it was like kind of funny, I guess, is like we used to have Python gets compiled to bytecode and then gets interpreted, or you have programming languages that go to machine code, and now you have natural language that may be transposed to like programming, and then programming goes to machine language, because I mean, I don't know exactly how it works in the back, right? But that's my intuition, right? They probably have, they say they send this to somehow to ChatGPT with prompts, and then that will create some code,
and that code will run on the machine.
Exactly.
So what will be the next phase? Like we just use a camera.
You just like
we will use gestures that gets translated to natural language.
About it,
that natural language to code.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the new thing. The program will run before you think of it.
Oh wow.
That's where we walk. That's where we're going towards.
It will be cool.
Yeah. Actually has 1.6 thousand stars. Pretty popular. The only thing I was a bit disappointed is that if you go on the repo, they have a link to a web page, but if you open it, it goes back to the repo, so they redirect it back, so there's no real documentation.
But it's interesting to see these tools popping up, and I think everybody can, from people that uses a lot in their coding workflow, like everybody will say like it would be handy to have a bit more structure, and I think this is the first iteration too.
But I'm wondering, like, again, I think it's cool. I look at it, it's like, oh, that's entertaining, but then I feel like I'll have a hard time looking at a problem and be like, oh yeah, I should use GPT script for this.
Yeah, I have the feeling you will always use it for very small things, right? Not like
Like, give me an example. Like, what would you use GPT script for today? Because I cannot think of an example yet.
I can but maybe as an alternative to what's it called? Your own custom GPTs in ChatGPT.
Like the store and
So
stuff.
I use custom GPT to generate the description. So we have notes. Based on those notes, we generate a description of the podcast. Using this, I could make like a very minimal CLI and just drop in the notes in my terminal, for example.
True, but I guess, like, wouldn't you just use ChatGPT to?
But the terminal is cooler.
Yeah, we had the whole 2E's episode, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what this is. Yeah. I think again, maybe I'm just lacking creativity here, but to me, it's like if I'm going for natural language, I probably don't want structure. I probably just want to vomit some words there, and then just like do something.
Oh yeah, that's also true. Yeah. The nice thing is that you don't need to think about the natural language. Like I can instead of a sentence, I use like 5 of the words, and it still knows what I want.
But ChatGPT can do that too.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh,
like
yeah,
in
exactly.
ChatGPT, like here you need to structure again.
It's a bit in between, right? It's like it's unstructured because it's natural language, but it's structured because it's a scripting language still, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll think about something. Maybe I can blow your mind in GPT script
Next week. All right, next week we'll do that.
If it's not next week, I will have forgotten it. So it's either next week or not.
There we go. I like the commitment. Actually, we had some promises before, no?
I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's been over a week, right? All right. What else we got? Oh, I see here. Maybe we should go for this one and more on the PKGX.
Oh yeah, there was a bit of drama.
GenAI sauce on top of OSS package descriptions. Tell me about this drama, Bart. You like drama, huh? It's like drama in open source. It's like a great weekend for you.
I think the only fun news is drama news.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I think, yeah, sure.
Package X is I actually didn't know it, I have to confess. I feel a bit ashamed, but I didn't know it. So package X is NPX for everything else. So NPX is comes from
the node stuff.
Yeah, from NPM, but NP executable. So basically to run node stuff as a command line. And
so it's like kind of like pipx
exactly,
for node.
Exactly. And package X is for everything else. So you can run Python stuff, you can run whatever stuff. And there's a long list of packages that is available for. You can very easily install it with Brew. There's if you for example look the rough CLI is available to it. You can install it. These type of things.
So basically, it's like they're basically trying to put an end to the. Should I use NPX? Should I use pipx? Should I use I don't know, RubyX? Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm filling in a lot of blanks here. What I'm going to say, but I think they were challenged because you see it on the website now. If you go through the package list and you open one, there's very little information about what the package does.
Let's see.
Right?
Let's try rough.
Yeah, rough is a good one. Very little information.
Oh yeah. So basically, for people listening, there's I guess it should be the logo, but there's
should be the logo. There's no logo.
Then there's just like how to install it, I guess. So just the shell. Then it says programs rough. I guess is the name. So I should know this. No companions, no dependencies, and then just versions, and then there's no more descriptions. Okay.
Which is challenging, and the thing what they want to do is also challenging to do this in a uniform way, because it's not just Python stuff that they do. Like if you could say, this is only an overview of Python packages, I can say I'm gonna get everything off of PyPI. I'm gonna scrape PyPI, use an icon there. I'm not even sure. Are there icons? Probably there are icons in
I think so.
PyPI.
Well.
There's a description in PyPI, but even if you would say let's use a description in PyPI, it can be very extensive, right? Like it's basically they get the README that the PyPI often uses.
Yes.
But that's just they talking Python. They pull in stuff on a lot of different ecosystems, so it's very hard to come up with a unified approach. So what they did is that they have had an LLM writing the description of the package and also generate an image.
Generate an image as well.
Yeah. And for a lot of things, it was like completely wrong.
Ah, really?
Like completely wrong. Like it was very clear. Like they use like some very cheap local LLM.
Like they wanted to use it but didn't have money. So
I
they
think
just
that is
like, okay.
yeah. I think if it would have done everything via the ChatGPT 4 preview,
Yeah.
like it would have been like there would still be errors, but like it would be out of date. But
How much do you think that would cost too? Is it worth it, you think? Because what's the trade-off, right? Like you're paying more money for better qualities, but how much money you pay?
I don't. It's a good question.
But not going to be hundreds.
I don't know how many packages they have.
Yeah, okay.
Almond is not that big. Like it's. I ran some translations through it the other day. It was easily €7, but like doing the actual translation would be way more expensive. But like €7 is easy to get.
Yeah.
And the preview of ChatGPT 4 is actually cheaper than ChatGPT 4. So they want you to use the latest one.
So they really just want people like users to test the
I
stuff.
think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I feel, but like for me.
So, but it's an interesting. The drama, of course, was because there were package owners that said, like, "What the fuck are you doing? How are you describing a package?" But it's interesting to see. Like, I think it was very much from good intentions. Like, our users need to understand something about this package, but also like the lack of correctness it introduces in this case.
Yeah.
And here it was very, very visible. Probably because we use a very cheap LLM, but I think the challenge is that it's often the lack of correctness is not really visible because it sounds very believable, right?
Yeah. There we go. Here's an example on the screen. RabbitMQ. But I feel like also putting the generated AI generated images was also a bold move. Huh?
That's a bold move. Yeah.
Like you can like even we saw on the turbo thing, you put one wrong word and easily becomes
exactly.
Cool. And is this a company or is this like just an open source project?
I think I don't know. Okay. Don't know, to be honest.
It's quite a lot of. I still thought it was a bit amusing that it's like Gen AI, the drama, and then there's a box that started talking here.
For example, is Atwin? I don't know. I'm not sure. So. Is like it's actually built in Python. It's a tool for your terminal, and like that lets you do very cool stuff with the history in your terminal. And it is described as a virtual reality mapping software. So,
what would that even mean? Virtual reality mapping?
I don't know, but it sounds very cool.
Sounds cool, right? It's ChatGPT for you, right? Like very fancy means nothing. And actually, I think interesting. I guess it speaks to the dangers, I guess.
Exactly.
Gen AI or the downfalls. I don't know. Pum. All right, let's go. I think we have quite a lot of topics still. Bart was very busy.
Well, we don't need to cover them all.
Indeed. But I always find amusing the hot takes. Maybe we can cover those.
Always dangerous, huh?
I know, but I didn't put them there, so it's not dangerous for me.
Next week I'm going to bring the hot takes, okay?
I'll see if I can find some, but I'll do my best.
So I have an article here on how to choose the right type of database.
Yes.
It came into my feed one way or another. It's from Tinybird, which is yet another database. They focus on real-time data.
Okay.
But it was more the article that triggered me a little bit. And I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to let you handle it.
Okay.
We have too many databases.
Yeah, I think I agree. So I'm not the most in the know when it comes to databases, but I also think it's a reflection that we do have too many, right? I feel like if we didn't have too many, I feel like I would have a grip on what's out there, but that's not the case at all. But even like there are different types as well, right? So maybe we should start there.
Yeah.
There's like relational, like SQL, then there's NoSQL, then there is a graph, there is vector databases. What else?
And I think for so you have a key value store, so often used for caching of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Redis, these type of things. I think we need this. We need the Redis in our life.
But I feel like, do we need different types Or like if we had one for each, that would be enough, or no?
Need a bit of competition, right? But I think if tomorrow the world ends,
So
and
dramatic.
after okay, normal life ends,
Yeah.
you need to rebuild. 2 databases left.
Okay.
One is not enough. I'm going to explain you why. 2 databases left. I'm going to tell you what the only things that we need. One is Redis,
Okay.
like a good key value store.
Well, I think I know the next
caching.
one. I think I know the next one. Postgres.
Voilà.
Man, I knew, but like you're a Postgres fanboy.
But Postgres, so yeah, you're going to the article. There's key value stores. Redis is there, of course. Like
Yes.
graph databases. Yeah, okay, it's interesting, but don't see it taken off. Like every 5 years is a new hype. I still don't see it really taking off.
Yeah, and I feel like Neo4j is the one. I didn't even know there were others, to be honest. I only hear
dgraph is
Neo4j.
cool. I think the most modern one is ArangoDB. Dgraph is
really?
Dgraph. I use some of that tooling. They have some cool in-memory caching libraries that they separated from the DB.
But I guess Neo4j is still the standard.
When it comes to corporate world, I think it is the standard. Yeah,
Okay.
I think there are document databases. So
Which is
I think
the
these are your
NoSQL.
what most people would think of as NoSQL databases,
But
which we do not at all need in our lives.
okay.
And this is very no, but it's really this is, and I've fallen into this myself a few times in my life, and it is too easy in life to say I need a NoSQL database.
Okay.
And you're always wrong. I think what we need is like, if you're a developer and you're often make the choice like, what kind of database am I going to use? You need to have like a monkey sitting on your shoulder with like a, I don't know, like a branch or a wooden ruler in the hand,
Just to kid you.
And from the moment that you think about maybe like
This would be a good use
MongoDB,
case.
Cosmos DB, and like it hits you on the fingers with a wooden ruler.
Okay.
I think that was what we need in life.
That would solve the world problems.
I think it would solve a lot of inefficiencies.
Okay. Maybe what is NoSQL and why do you hate it so much?
So NoSQL is well, this is NoSQL. There are a lot of things NoSQL, but what we're talking about here is document databases.
Yes.
Where you basically have, and I'm gonna simplify it a lot, is that there is no schema, and you more or less just drop in a JSON alike structure.
Yeah, maybe by schema is like there's no, it's not a columns with specific types. It's just like
it's not that black and white like that, but yeah, that's a bit how you can. Which means that it is super easy to start developing, because from the moment that you start developing, you typically don't know these are the columns I'm going to use. These are the tables I'm going to use. It's super hard to know when you start developing. So what people at that point wrongly do, they choose a document database like MongoDB or HBase, like Sandra's here. They start developing. They say, here I have a user. I'm just going to create a JSON with the properties, name, whatever. And the challenge is, from the moment they actually deploy this, it gets used. And then you're in shit. Because schemaless, you don't define the schema. So these documents can be anything, right? And you as a developer that just created it, like, you know what the content is, you know what you can expect, right?
But you tomorrow,
but also, okay, now it's like one service that talks to this database. Tomorrow, let's say there's another team that creates another microservice that also talks to this database, and they're going to say, it's a bit difficult. There's no schema in the database, because let's put the schema in our ORM, in our code. And so they're going to have their schema basically written in their code. And you're going to think, oh, shit, these people are changing stuff. My expectations are not long. So you're also going to get to put the schema in your code, so you know what you can expect. And now you have two places of where your code, where you basically have to maintain the schema.
Yeah.
Because it's not always aligned, because it's not coming from your database. And then tomorrow you said the first thing that you made was written in Python. Even if you now do an extension of your first service, like in another language, you need to rewrite the schema again in that. So schemaless doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's just like, do you want the schema in your database, or do you want to write
when
it in
you're
your code?
writing it or when you're using it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like you put a stack of papers. It's like, oh, I'll use this later, and then you just put it in a closet, you close it, and then when you actually need it, that's when you're in trouble.
And
And
I
then
think it's all like from the moment that you grow these things, and beginning it's not very painful, but from the moment that you grow these things, need to maintain these things, it always becomes an extremely painful process.
yeah, maybe the difference between documents.
This is very opinionated. There will be people that
yeah,
might
Mongo,
cancel me for this, but I stand by it.
you're gonna go down proudly.
I'm gonna go down proudly. Yeah.
Nice, nice. I'm
I
glad
will
that
be
you-
shouting Postgres.
Okay. The maybe difference between document and key value is just that key value cannot have nested stuff, because you mentioned JSON. JSON has keys and values, but I guess what's the difference there? Maybe.
So a key value is basically what the name says. You have a key,
Yeah.
which is typically should be unique, and you know that this key, something is linked to that.
Mhm.
Can be JSON, can be some binary, can be whatever. But like it's much easier to retrieve because it's a single key.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, and I think with documents you can have nested stuff, right? Like you keep going on and on. If it's truly like a JSON, I guess.
But I think what we're talking about here, document databases, you need to compare more with a traditional SQL, not a key value store, but a traditional SQL database where you have like an entry for example a user, and it's in a JSON structure or this cleanly in columns.
Yeah, I see.
That's it. And you're gonna do searches, you're gonna do queries on that, and you need to retrieve stuff. And you want to do that on a clean column, we know what is in there, or you need to like unpack JSONs and and this. And I think Postgres. Right maybe we should touch because there are a number of other ones as well. I think they're
before you take Postgres home. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So vector databases
got really hyped this past.
Got really hyped thanks to RAG,
ChatGPT,
retrieval augmented
generation,
which is so vector database. What are they used for?
Basically, you have some text, and then that text gets mapped into a vector.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's in RAG, like I guess, but then vector is just a sequence of numbers. You can think of that. And then basically you store that somewhere, and then yes, it will be in a vector database. The idea with RAG is if I ask, for example, what's the capital of Brazil, you can also create a vector that represents this sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can look for the vector closest or like the neighboring, like if you think of a vector in math, you can plot it. So it's basically a point in space. And then you can look for the points next to this. So the idea is that if I'm asking for the capital of Brazil and you have Wikipedia, the whole Wikipedia downloaded as a vector database, you can see the chunks, the paragraphs, the sentences that are closer to this question. And the idea is that usually that will have the information that you're looking for. You may not be perfect, but then you extract that and you put it all into ChatGPT and you or a GPT LLM model. And you basically say, based on this text, can you answer this question? And that's how you have your answer there. So it became really popular because it's very efficient on storing and finding this information.
Oh. And I think only very relevant when like if you're doing this at huge scale, right?
Yeah.
And maybe at a huge scale, they outperform PG Vector, which is a plugin for Postgres, which is for free.
Well, but even like maybe we can get to the Postgres, but Postgres, they also have a JSON types column, no?
Yeah.
So even then you kind of, it's not like a black and white, right? Like you can have a bit of unstructuredness into your structured.
Yes. So you with Postgres, so you have a standard schema where you say this column is that type, etc. Can be a number, can be text, but can also be a JSON or JSON-B, binary JSON representation. And that indeed allows you to still have a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
We say, I don't know yet what kind of data I'm gonna capture. So I'm gonna land this in this JSON-B column, but it will also make this transition of, okay, now I know what the structure will be.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna create columns for it. Makes that transition much easier.
Yeah. Agreed. And now there's even, like you said, Postgres can have plugins. There's a PG Vector, which is a vector plugin for him. Yeah. What else? We have real-time column databases. Is that the last one? OLAP warehouse. Man, there's a lot of.
There's a lot, yeah. There's a lot of so and of course a little bit, tiny bit exaggerating on Postgres. And I think for this is a good example. So these type of databases are really focused on analytics, analytical workloads, so large aggregations, large joins over different tables, sometimes even over different DBs. And the ones that you see listed here, ClickHouse, Apache Druid, for example, DuckDB is in there. Tinybird, the website where we're on, they are of course very much focused on this specific type of workload, right? And I think the actually next category that they list here is OLAP database for warehousing. They are a little bit linked to that in the sense that one is more focused on real time, the other more on batch, but really focused on analytical workloads.
Maybe what is OLAP for people that just see this for the first time?
OLAP is online analytical processing, and it so really based on analytical workloads, and it is you can mirror that, like you can put that. Compare that to OLTP, online transaction processing. And online transaction processing is I think the original premise of why the database was needed. You have you need to store a record somewhere, or you need to update a record. So really operational usage, that's OLTP. A lot of databases are optimized for that. So if we talk about native Postgres, optimized for that. These type of database, OLAP databases, are really optimized for the analytical workloads. So large queries, large joins, sometimes over different systems. I think that is the main difference. And it's very hard to do both.
Yeah.
To optimize for both. It's extremely hard. And of course, like they are exaggerating a little bit for large cases where you need a lot of scalability, where you have a huge amount of data. These things are very good.
Yeah,
right? We use them a lot. But if you don't have huge amounts of data, I would also look at PG Analytics, a recent plugin actually for Postgres, which allows you to save tables in a columnar way, and also use them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I clicked the right one.
But there are so many databases, and the thing is, I see them popping up, and where do databases get big is when they actually start being used in solutions. And I think most of the ones that are listed here in this article actually databases where there is a large team behind, where there is, or even, well, I think you can, for some, maybe you can still debate that. But a database, we've discussed this before, is like a choice you make that is very fundamental. Like it's very hard to change a database. So choose one that has proven itself.
Yeah.
Right. Not the most fancy new tool.
Yeah.
I think that is super important for when you choose a database.
Yeah.
And even not only one that is a tool that has proven itself, or a company that's proven itself, but also a paradigm that has proven itself.
Paradigm meaning like
SQL versus NoSQL.
Yeah.
NoSQL document databases.
You really hate them.
Stay away.
Be careful. Save yourself.
So yeah, there my rant is over.
No, but I agree. I feel like the fact that you see this article and so basically to help you navigate through it.
Yeah.
There's so many types. For each type, there's a whole bunch of them. For me, it's like, I mean, I'm in tech. I'm not really into the database game, but even for me, it's hard to keep up. Right. And usually, like, even you say this is for OLTP or OLAP, all these things. Sometimes, I mean, if I understand correctly, it's like it's not that you cannot do one thing with a database. You can. It's just that it's not optimized for that. Is that a correct statement?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like even then, it's like the terminology gets more, more and more not niche, but like it's not about capabilities. It's about what it's made to do and what are the optimal things. Yeah. But to me,
and what is actually not on here, I think, which everybody should know, is SQLite.
No, it is.
It is.
Here. Yeah, right here.
Hold on.
Actually, it's the most popular one, right?
It's hugely popular.
But like, the most used.
most used and often also used in development environments. So
Yeah.
where you want to test against a SQL database, because in production you are talking to the SQL database then in that case, and then your SQLite is like your local version which you can run tests against. And we actually, since I want to say 2 weeks ago, we have PG Lite.
Really, you're really Postgres fanboy.
And PG Lite is Postgres re-implemented in WASM.
There we go. Yeah, indeed.
And I've seen some demos, and it really allows you also like this. So to me, it was always a little tiny bit of friction, but you can abstract it away typically if you develop locally against SQLite, but in production you're on Postgres. Like most of it is similar, but like you need to change a little bit of things.
Yeah.
This allows you to have like a very, very, very lightweight Postgres instance running for development purposes that you can test against. So you're actually testing against Postgres, which is very cool. But you can also run very super efficiently in the browser.
Yeah.
So you have some demos online now that you can, where you can try these things.
Is WebAssembly, right? So basically means you can run on the browser. So cool.
So
I see Bun here as well. I don't know if we talked about. I think we talked about Bun.
Oh.
Right?
But so the sky is the limit for Postgres.
Yeah. So if you took one thing from this episode, is Postgres.
Yeah.
Maybe we should also have a button with Postgres. You know, a lot of hype and stuff. Maybe I don't know if we have time for one more quick one.
Tell me which one.
Just the making table head is sticky.
Oh yeah. It's something super random.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted to bring it up. It's also hot take, so
I think I saw it on Mastodon. So apparently, everybody knows a large HTML-based table, right? Like you scroll down the table, you have like 20 columns, and you're thinking, what is this value that I'm actually looking at? You look up at the column, the header is gone.
Yeah.
Right? Because you need to scroll back up for the header.
For the people that have on the video, you can see a bit of example here.
Yeah.
Scroll it down. What does this mean? What is this number, for example, right?
And apparently in CSS, it's super easy to add a little bit of CSS properties to the t-head element, which is basically a table heading element, to make sure that it sticks to the top. So it always keeps frozen to the top. Basically, like you can also do in Excel or in Google Sheets. Like you can freeze your first.
So basically, for trying to paint a picture with words, it's like if you scroll past the heading would always show at the top.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So then if you're in the video, you can also see another example here as well. Yeah. And then your rant here, or it's not a hot take, I guess. Like you're just saying that everyone should do it, or that should be the default.
Everybody should do it.
Everybody should do it. I don't think that's that hot. It's like warm.
Well, what you will get, the discussion that you will get here, is that there will be people that say, yeah, but you should not make a table scrollable in HTML. Like a table needs to be part of the full page, not in its own element.
Okay.
That's what I will assume that will happen. Anyway.
Maybe. Okay.
Add these two position sticky top 0 CSS properties to your t-head element. Maybe
I'll also plug into, because I'm a fan of this. Actually, I'm with you. If this is a hot take, if we're gonna get canceled for this, we'll do it together. I can go further. VS Code also has a sticky what's the name? Sticky
header?
Sticky scroll feature.
So what does that mean? A sticky scroll feature?
The idea is, you see, like if you're on the video, basically if you have a function definition, I mean, I guess you can say, oh, your function shouldn't be too big. But if you have a function, a class, so it can be a class with functions, right?
Yeah.
It will stick the
class with methods. Okay.
Yes. Wow. Oh, look, the bus. Someone real under it. If you have a class with methods, or you have a function with functions or whatever, basically it will stick the same way that the header stays on top. It will stick the definition, right?
The definition of the function or the class or the
exactly. But it's even both, right? So if you're on the video, you can actually see some examples here. So you see here, there's a class with some methods and some methods or something. And basically, if you see this function, it's like, oh, what is this part of? Oh, it's part of this. It's part of that, right? So if you scroll too much, so actually I quite like it. It's not the default, but you can very easily enable it on VS Code, and I'm also all for that. So try for yourself, but do it.
Let's do it.
All right, and I see we also passed. Well, we passed the 1 hour mark. I'm not sure if we have more topics, but I think we can keep some for next week.
Yes, let's do it.
Anything else you want to share?
What are you gonna do for the weekend?
What am I going to do for the weekend? That's a good question. I think I may need to unpack my luggage from Romania. Yeah, judge me, Bart, okay? Yeah.
Is this are these clothing that you skied in for a whole week still in the suitcase for a week now?
No, it's different clothes. Yes, think so. Yes, indeed. I ski with some, but like it's fine. I took them out of the luggage. I put it on the corner.
Okay,
And I was like,
you
oh,
let
yeah.
it dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna put it back on in the closet now. No, just kidding. I'm gonna wash it, of course. But it's a bit of a mess. I feel like I came back from holidays. I didn't have time to properly do all these things. Still need to tidy it up. What about you? Anything?
Nothing planned.
Really? So you made me go through all this just to say, oh no.
I honestly don't have any planned. A bit of time with the kids, a bit of running. That's it. And you, Alex?
Yeah, nothing planned either.
It's an easy answer.
Yeah, maybe I'll just go last next time. Just let everyone.
Next time I'll ask you how the laundry went.
Thanks for keeping me honest here. All right, I think that's it. We can call it a day. Call it a pod. Yeah. You're pressing this thing? Do it.
You have taste in a way that's meaningful to software people.
And do you not know who everybody is?
Hello, I'm Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
That was Bill Gates. Yeah, nice one.
I would recommend.
So this is Guido.
Yeah, it writes
Is it Guido or Guido?
a lot of code
Guido.
for me, and
In the
usually
Dutch it's,
it's
Guido.
slightly wrong.
I'm reminded incidentally of Rust this year. Rust.
So that's a podcast.
Congressman, iPhone is made by a different company, and so
The
You
CEO
will
of
not
Google.
learn Rust while skydiving.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Sounds like
opportunity
Larry
to speak
Davis.
to you today about large neural networks. It's really an honor to be here.
Rust.
Of Sam Altman before Congress.
Datatopics Podcast.
Pretty cool. Thank y'all. See you next week.